Hello, and thanks for joining me for this discussion on positive leadership. My name is Adam Seaman, and I am the developer of this curriculum. So we're going to do a quick guided tour through this, and to start with, here's what we're going to cover. We're going to talk about what is positive leadership, and then how does it work, and finally, what are the benefits to your program. So this is the big picture of positive leadership, and it's really comprised of three main aspects. The self, which are your participants. And so it's a personal development program in a sense for participants. Then we look at the big picture of the community, which is what our programs are all about, is feeding our community with a pipeline of engaged and committed leaders and informed leaders. And then in between the self and the community is leadership. And so one of the things that makes positive leadership different is our view of leadership. A lot of programs will talk about leadership as a title, role, or position. And then other programs will talk about it as a trait, one that you develop or one that you were born with. And positive leadership really distances itself from both of those because it views leadership as not something that happens within a person or within a position, but something that happens between people. That social force gets created when people come together. And this is the potential to move people. And at one moment, somebody may exert social force that moves me in a particular direction or opinion or view. And then in the next moment, I might channel social force that directs them in a particular direction. In other words, leadership is much more fluid, whereas the view of leadership as a position or as a trait sees leadership as much more of a fixed thing. And so we talk about social force as a moment of accountability. That's really what determines leadership, at a moment when somebody really steps into a commitment. And so leadership is much more fluid in this way. And so when we look at the self and the leadership and the community pieces, it sort of teases out these 7 capacities. So what are these capacities about? Each of these 7 capacities are about ways to increase one's social force. If I have a clear purpose, that fuels me to make things happen in a way that I couldn't if I didn't have a clear purpose, a muddled purpose, or a purpose I disagreed with, or a lack of purpose. Advocacy, the better I am able to advocate, the more effectively I can mobilize other people. So some people just have developed a much higher degree of this capacity to advocate than other people. So these 7 capacities are what really make up the meat or the major portion of positive leadership. So here are just some of the programs that use positive leadership. We started off using this here in Tulsa, and then that's where we incubated it and created it, but we didn't really intend for it to go nationally like it has. And even this year, we have 7 more programs that are slated to come on board. And so this is just an opportunity to share with you what's available in case you're interested in also checking out positive leadership. So what's included in the program? Let me just lay it all out here. So there's 9 chapters. There's a foundations chapter or an introduction, very important, a conclusion chapter, and then there's a chapter for each of the capacities. And so you can cover those in each of your monthly programs. And if you have 9 sessions in your program, then you could cover the foundations and conclusion. If you have more than that, you could break up the foundations. It could cover several class days if you wanted to. If you had fewer programs, you might cover a couple of capacity or program days. You might cover a couple of capacities at a time. So it's very scalable. It's based on the field of positive psychology, and I can go more into that in another video, but I think it's a really important and relevant idea that your participants would find to be really engaging and fresh. One thing we did this year is we added a field guide for each of the capacities. So the field guide is really meant to provide some tangible action items to develop one's capacity. So your participants could engage the field guide in between your class sessions, for example. We provide PowerPoint sessions for each of the capacities or chapters. So you could use these PowerPoints to introduce it. And the PowerPoints are longer than you probably will want to have time for. So it's just there where you could scale it or customize it to your needs. We provide chapter summaries, and the way programs use this, don't give those to the participants. Give those to your guest speakers. If you give it to your participants, they won't really read the chapters fully. But if you give it to your guest speakers, then when they come to talk about whatever topic, they could also really dovetail their comments into the capacity for the day to kind of create that sort of seamlessness and that common thread that carries throughout the day. We also provide you with an implementation guide. This is meant to help give you some nuts and bolts of how do you implement positive leadership and provide you with some of the best practices that we've picked up along the way. Also, this video is just an example, but we're creating a series of videos, one for each of the chapters, so that you or the facilitator could use these to brush up on the chapter and maybe some ways to present it. Or if you wanted to share a little clip of that video with your class, that's of course an option as well. And we're always providing additional resources, articles in current literature, current events that exemplify some of the capacities in positive leadership, or different ideas for exercises that you could do, classroom discussions, that kind of thing. And the other thing is that we're always wanting to provide committed service so that whenever you have a question, we are there to provide an answer for you. And all of this is available at $35 per participant. So it takes the guesswork out of like whether you'll have this amount of participants or that amount of participants. It fluctuates from year to year with many programs. So it's just an easy rate for you to calculate, and a rate that we feel is fair and is well within the budget for programs like yours. What are the benefits? So let me just lay all these out here as well. So first of all, it's about developing community leaders. It's about having better leaders out in the community making an impact. That's really what this whole thing of community leadership is about, and we fully believe in it and want to support it, and this curriculum is a great way to do that. This will also help with the recruitment because it offers something unique that participants wouldn't be able to get anywhere else. So it's a selling point for why somebody should be part of your program. It increases the value proposition. So once they're in the program, they're getting a lot more than what they even expected. A lot of times participants will really want to take the materials they learn in class and share it with other people in their community or in their workplace. So it gives them something unique, and I think that goes along with the recruitment piece. It also is a revenue generator, and I can share different ideas on that, but one just happened last week where a new program is coming on board, and like right away they approached one of their community employers and asked if they would sponsor the positive leadership piece. So it was a sponsorship piece, and so right away it paid for the program and then some. So that was really cool. And the other thing is that it's compatible with other curricula. So if you're already using some things that you like, then there's nothing about positive leadership that would conflict with what you're already using. And so it only will add to it or deepen it. And that's really cool. And it will also fit with any of the class day topics. It provides coherence to your overall program. So, you know, over the course of 9 or 10 sessions or whatever length your program is, the positive leadership will be that one of the consistent things that will anchor all of the class sessions together. So that's another benefit that programs have mentioned. And let's see. The other thing is that we're always improving things. So we're adding things all the time. These videos is an example. The field guides is an example. And then also I'm going to show you something really cool we're excited about, that all of these materials are available online. Programs that license positive leadership would just have access to the website and these materials anytime. So let me just show you what that looks like. So like once you log in, you have this screen here, and it kind of shows you all the things that are available. And let's say you clicked on authenticity. So that's the capacity you're talking about. Well, here you can click on these hyperlinks for the chapter. You could easily distribute it to your participants. But you could also make it so your participants can log into the website. There's a special screen for participants. This is for people who are running programs, like the administrator, the director of the program, you, for example. But there's another way that your participants can log in and just see the chapters in the field guides, and that's it, not this other stuff like the PowerPoint or these worksheets, like my user's manual is actually an activity, or some of these articles that you could share. So these resources are always growing and we're always adding to it. So that's really a very quick overview of positive leadership. I hope it was helpful. Visit us at positiveleadership.com for more information. Feel free to give us a call anytime. We can set up an appointment, talk through any questions you might have. And I just want to say thank you very much for your time.